What up, everybody? We're about to dive into the Super Bowl.
Hey everybody, welcome to I Got Next. I am your man, Wasted Talent. Here with my man Ant. We about to get into the Super Bowl. Ant, what is the deal today, brother?
What's up, bro? I'm feeling a little bit down. I made this bold statement that the Bengals were gonna win the Super Bowl because I had all my fake conspiracy theories that I came up with. Um, Watching the game a little bit, I think they should have won, but it is what it is. The Rams won. Congrats to the Rams. They deserve the Super Bowl, man.
Well, you were right, but the NFL got in the way of your prediction. You know what I mean? They had to make sure that they did all these makeup calls. And I noticed yesterday, man. There was a bad call with the Jalen Ramsey touchdown. T. Higgins grabbed him, face masked him, got a 76-yard touchdown. And I think that, it's not a big elaborate scheme to screw the Bengals. I just think that when referees make mistakes like that, they try to retroactively correct them. And I feel like that's what happened at the end of the game because those holding calls were bullshit. The whole scenario at the end of the game was straight bullshit, man. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, man. I totally agree. I thought for the most part the refs were just letting them play, which I always love because I hate seeing flags during a football game. In a football game, you could throw a flag every play if you want to. You could call a hold every play if you want to. But for the most part, the game was clean. Definitely that play. What was that? The beginning of the second half?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first play of the first drive for the Bengals, if you guys watched the game, obviously T. Higgins got away with an egregious offensive pass interference / face mask.
He almost pulled his head off his fucking shoulders, man.
Yeah,
that shit was worse than just a regular old face mask.
That's what I'm saying, man. If that happened to anybody else, like if it was vice versa, if Ramsey did that to T. Higgins, people would be going crazy. But when it's the Super Bowl and people have money on the line, those things tend to get, a little bit looser on the calls. Now, with that being said, at the end of the game, I feel like they're throwing a flag every single play for the Rams. Especially
bro,
that one where
they were trying to correct them. They were trying to correct what they did at the beginning of the game, yo. That's all they were doing, bro.
I mean, that play where it was third? It was 3rd and goal, right? When they called that, when they went to throw it to Cooper Kupp, the defender made the great play. I was hyped because I'm like, yeah, let's go. Like they're gonna have to settle for a field goal, or they're gonna, it's 4th down, and then all of a sudden it was like holding. They played the replay, and I'm like, bro, you could have thrown a flag for every play of the game if that's what a hold is.
Bro, that wasn't a hold at all. The guy was behind him, and he made a play on the ball. As long as you're reaching and going for the ball, they're not supposed to call that. He didn't even grab the back of him. He just had his hand kind of like this. He came up, and he went and made a play for the ball. Then they called a personal foul on Von Bell in the back of the end zone when, he hit Cooper Kupp. But to me, that was bullshit too. The whole series at the end was just straight up bullshit. You know what I mean? The one good thing about the Super Bowl is that, you get great players like Odell Beckham Jr., Aaron Donald getting their first chance at getting a ring. Matthew Stafford, they've been really good in this league in a long time, and they deserve it. Shout outs to them. The one piece of it that kind of pisses me off is that the Rams finally won a Super Bowl in Los Angeles, and the Raiders were the only team to win a championship in Los Angeles in football. But you know what? To be honest with you, man, I'm beyond that shit. I want the Raiders to win in Las Vegas now. I can give a fuck about the Rams. You know what I mean? I care about the fan base in LA, and the Raiders run LA, so I don't really care,
Yeah, man. It was like, I think I just heard some today. People were saying that it was like 65% Bengal fans to like not even the remaining percent were Rams fans. It was like 25% were celebrities who could care less about who won the football game. They were just there to hang out. And then there was, what does that leave? What does that leave left if my math is correct?
So you 65 is 80, 90 is those 10%.
10% Rams fans. So
Yeah,
it's like, the Raiders, that California's a Raiders state besides, the 49ers. Obviously, you guys have that rivalry. But I don't think the Rams will ever have a true fan base out there, which brings me back to your point. It's like the NFL wanted the Rams to win this game because of the new stadium, and they want to make it popular out there so people are attend those games because every single game it seems like it's an away game for the Rams, you
yeah.
know?
They got to reestablish, get a fan base. Problem is, it's 70 degrees in Los Angeles right now. People aren't insane. I've said this on our show many a times. People aren't insane enough to sit there and watch a bad football team like we are in the East. We'll sit there in fucking 2-3 degree weather and watch the Jets go 0 and fucking 17. That's just how we're built over here because there's not a whole
Yeah.
lot to do. People out west, they'll tap in, but you got to be winning. I mean, hell, even the Lakers, who's built up more equity to be bad than the Lakers? And I remember the years in between the Kobe Shaq era and the Magic era, like when Anthony Peeler was starting and Eddie Jones and Cedric Ceballos and Nick Van Exel and James Worthy had gotten old. I remember those some lean years in the Forum. Those some lean years. The Forum used to be fucking empty. You know what I mean? And they were making the playoffs. So let me tell you something. Los Angeles is the kind of town where if you're not putting a winner on the field, they're not going to sit there and watch that shit. So the Rams they're up against it, man, because if you look at what's going to happen after this season, they have a bunch of guys that they had on 1-year deals. They're in cap hell, and they don't have any any draft capital. So, I don't know how they're going to rebuild this thing, man.
Yeah, there was already some things they were questioning Aaron Donald yesterday, right after he won the Super Bowl. They were like, are you gonna return? And he was just like, let me enjoy the moment right now. But it's interesting, just that narrative, because then you have the Chargers there as well. But everybody knows the Chargers aren't an LA team either. I mean, you would know that firsthand. They're in your conference.
Yeah, pretty much, man. The Chargers are just that team is in trouble, man. But yeah, man, listen. The way I'm looking at all of this stuff is that the Rams got a Super Bowl. They're not going to repeat, and it's going to be really, really hard for them to build on what they have right now. It's gonna be hard, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be hard, especially the fact that, like you said, they don't have any draft capital. They pretty much gave away all their draft picks this year. I mean, they went all in. Let's be real. They went all in. They took a gamble and they won their championship. And now they have that. But are they going to be able to rebuild? I've even heard things about people saying, is Sean McVay going to leave? Which I don't believe is going to be true. But who
How
knows,
could he?
Yeah, that's what
How
I'm
could
saying.
he?
How could he
How could
leave?
he?
So
He's the
that,
one who did all of this shit. It wasn't like, he did I mean, they fucking burnt it down. And now, like Von Miller is a free agent. Aaron Donald retires. Fucking Odell Beckham Jr. is a free agent. Robert Woods has an injured knee. They got to pay Cooper Kupp. They paid Matthew Stafford. They traded everybody in the world to get him. So it's crazy.
yeah, I mean, they went. Oh, he bounced. All right, I'll talk to myself. They went all in this year. They won, but now they're in that rebuild mode. So are they going to be able to pull this out next year? I don't know. And then you have, like you said, you have Odell who just hurt his knee. Robert Woods hurt his knee. Kupp, they're going to have to pay. He was the Super Bowl MVP. So I don't know what the deal is as far as that stuff goes. It's just going to be interesting. So it looks like Jay bounced. So it looks like I'll just talk to you guys by myself for a little bit. We were going to get to the MVP conversation, but I'm going to give my opinion. I think that Kupp deserved the MVP. I don't think they win that game without him, especially once Odell went down. Their offense was pretty limited because they couldn't run the ball the entire game. Both teams barely could run the ball. The Bengals were able to run the ball a little bit in the second half, but they were both having issues running the ball. All the other wide receivers for the Rams were not doing anything. Odell looked like he was about to scorch the earth once the first half he was looking great. But then once he went down with that knee injury, everybody in the world knew it was probably a torn ACL. I don't know if those reports came out yet, but it looked like a torn ACL from the moment he went and made that play. He was running that little slant route, went to make the catch. He was about to catch and go too, and as soon as the ball hit his hands, he went right for the knee. Anytime that happens, especially on a turf, artificial field like that, that usually indicates ACL. I was looking online, and from all what the professional trainers were all commenting on it, it looks like a torn ACL. So that sucks. There's no other way to say it. That sucks. Robert Woods torn ACL earlier in the season, ironically a day after they signed Odell. So it's going to be tough to replace those guys. You have two wide receivers that have ACL injuries. Like you said, they're going to have to pay Kupp. Who knows what's going to happen with Aaron Donald? Like
Yeah, I think
it
Aaron Donald's
seems
gonna
like
definitely he's going to retire, man. It seems like he's going that way. Hey guys, I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. My internet went out really quickly, so I'm sorry. But yeah, listen, man, when it comes to all of their roster, they never had any intentions on building a team. They built a collection of talent. So, I don't really know, they're going to have to draft really, really well to restock the cupboard with this fucking team because, Andrew Whitworth is retiring. Robert Woods is coming off a knee injury. They got Robert Woods coming back. I don't really know what Stafford's contract looks like, but they gave up 2 number ones from Stafford. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be here for the foreseeable future. But, they got a young running back. But their defensive line and stuff like all of those guys, man, all those guys on Sean Robinson and all of those guys that he brought over from Detroit and stuff like that. I don't know what his contract looks like either. I haven't had a chance to really study their roster, but I know they have a whole hell of a lot of free agents. And then when you got to look at the Jalen Ramsey contract, like, can you afford when you have all of those players and holes that you need to fill in? Can you afford to pay a defensive back like a quarterback?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's another issue that they have. So, I don't think that we're going to be seeing the Los Angeles Rams back being a player for a championship in a long time. I really think that the power in the NFL is shifted to the AFC. The AFC is loaded, man. All of those young quarterbacks, most of them are in the AFC. And, their championship windows are open. Like when you have a young quarterback, a young superstar quarterback, the goal is to win a championship in the first 3 years before you got to pay them. Because now you look at what's happening in Kansas City. Now they got to pay everybody.
Yeah.
So all of these guys are going to be going. The Honey Badger guy, and then like Tyreek Hill, they keep trying to go and restructure his contract. He's told them no twice. So he's like, nah, I want my chips with the dip. Fuck all of y'all, man.
If I was Tyreek Hill, I'm not restructuring anything either. I'm top 2 wide receivers in the league, arguably, maybe number 1. You can make an argument whichever way you want. I'm getting my bag. You're not taking that from me. I'm being selfish. I already got my ring. Now I need my money.
Oh yeah. So it's going to be him and Patty Mahomes playing pitch and catch with nobody on that roster because they're going to lose a lot of people, man. Melvin Ingram is going to be gone. They got Chris Jones is still there. They're gonna lose the Frank Clark,
right?
The Honey Badger. Like they're gonna have a problem stopping people. They're gonna have a problem stopping like the Rams and the Kansas City Chiefs. Man, I just wonder how they're gonna do. Even though they say it's monopoly money with the cap, man, it's gonna be really really interesting. But the way I see this Rams thing shaking down is they've bought themselves 3 years to be viable. They've bought themselves 3 years to be viable. Mark my words. If they can't remain competitive and compete for a championship for the foreseeable future, whatever little equity they built up out in Los Angeles was going to be lost really, really quickly. That's just the long and the short of it.
Yeah, man. I mean, you just can't create fans out of thin air. Like, it just doesn't happen, you just can't do it. Now, while your internet went out, I talked about my thoughts on the MVP a little bit. I think because some people are saying Aaron Donald deserved it. Some people are arguing Stafford or Kupp. I believe that Kupp deserved it. I don't think they win. I don't think they win that game without him. If Donald's a beast, bro. Like, but there's a chance that they could have won the game without him. But without Kupp, you don't win that game. Especially when Odell went down, because at the beginning of the game, it looked like Odell was about to have a day. And even on the play where he tore his ACL, or allegedly, I mean, let's be real, he probably tore his ACL. Even on
Yeah,
the
it's
play where
non-contact injury on turf. That's pretty much that's what's gonna happen. Pretty much,
even when that happened to him, he was about to catch that football and take off and go for probably another 15, 20 yards, So he was about to have a day. So especially when he went down and the Rams could barely run the ball, the Bengals were all over the run game. I truly feel like the Rams would not have been able to win that game without Cooper Kupp, especially on that last drive. He was making every single play. When they had the 4th and 1, he had the handoff. That was a huge play. 2 touchdowns. He caught the touchdown that offset, and he got rocked on that play. I thought he had a
yeah.
concussion after that.
Yeah, that's the one I was saying when they threw the flag. I thought that was kind of bullshit. You know what I mean? That was a
Yeah.
clean. Like 10 years ago, nobody would have threw that flag. 10 years ago, that was just a clean hit. He fit him up. It wasn't like he went helmet to helmet. It's like, come on, man.
10 years ago, they didn't even know what a catch was. It was Des Bryant and all that.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, you
The
remember
NFL rules are always changing, man. That's why I honestly was surprised that game wasn't higher scoring, because there really wasn't a lot of flags. But I think it wasn't as high scoring because neither team could run the ball. The only time Joe Mixon was able to run the ball was on that last drive.
Yeah. Yeah. I
When
mean,
everybody
I
was
think it was
tired.
bad play calling, to be honest with you. And then you gotta look at the going forward on the 30. You know what I mean? Go in the beginning of the game, it's like, come on, man, it's not that deep. You know what I mean? Like I think we got a generation of coaches that grew up playing John Madden football, because some of the shit I've been seeing, I've been like, yo, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Yo, what did you think of the Philly special play that they tried?
Oh, I called that the Philly not so special. That was I was like, what the fuck are we doing here, bro? Like, y'all doing too much now.
Yo, bro, the best thing for that to happen was the play not to work, because if Stafford caught that ball, he was about to get rocked by
Oh
that
my
safety,
God.
bro.
That safety was about to impale that motherfucker, yo. And the thing is that even if the ball would have come in his vicinity, the safety would have had full rights to just try to separate him from the ball. And I thought that was going to happen. And I'm like, dog, you don't do shit like that with Matthew Stafford. You just don't. You just don't, man. I'm sorry.
There's a reason why Philly did that play in the end zone. They're going for a big
Yeah.
play. They're doing that play on second down to try to go for a first down. Could you imagine if it was just on line to him, because he had to do a full 360 to catch the ball. The safety was 5 yards away. He was about to light him up. He would have been out for a
came and
game,
looked the
bro.
ball in like this, and hello, he would have just saw a fucking Bengal helmet right in the solar plexus. Nah, that would have been terrible, bro. I just, you know what all of this shows me? It shows me that you don't need Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers to win a Super Bowl, because Matthew Stafford really did not play well in that Super Bowl. I don't think that he had any rights to being MVP of that game. Anybody who he wasn't even close, to be honest with you. I think Odell Beckham has more of a right to being Super Bowl MVP than he did. And also what it shows you is how great Odell Beckham is and how bad Baker Mayfield is. Baker Mayfield, I don't want to hear a fucking word out of Baker Mayfield all season next year. That guy's terrible. He's awful, bro.
Yeah, man.
This guy's caught more touchdowns in a third of the season with this quarterback that he did the whole time he was in Cleveland. He is a superstar. People are like, oh, he's washed up. And I'm like, man, you motherfuckers are out of your mind if you think that guy's washed up. That guy has a lot of football left in him. I just kind of wonder how his knee is going to be now, because I don't know if that's the same knee that he hurt previously or if it's another knee. But, my heart goes out to him. I'm just glad he got his ring. He looks like he's really, really happy where he's at. And Los Angeles seems like home to him. But I don't really know what they're going to do going forward with Odell, man, because, this is his third catastrophic knee injury, right?
I think it's his second.
Well, didn't he get hurt? He got hurt before he left New York.
I don't think he fully tore something, did he?
I can't remember, because you know what I mean. I have to go back, but I know he had a bad injury in New York. When he started to tail off, New York decided to cut bait with him. Then he hurt his knee again in Cleveland, and then he wound up here. He was working his way back. So this is his third major injury. So maybe this is a trend, man. And I don't know. And the last time he hurt his knee, he hurt it against Cincinnati too, ironically. So with Cleveland, so it's just like the the way it's looking is, you really can't make a big investment in Odell Beckham, and it would probably behoove him to take less money and stay there because he can really, really increase his brand staying in Los Angeles. I mean, to be honest with you, I'd love to see him come to Las Vegas, but it's no place like being in New York or LA. So if he can make money off the field in LA.
Yeah, I mean the thing is with knee injuries and surgery, like these NFL players, a lot of them, these guys have the best doctors in the world, surgeons, especially him being in LA. He's going to have access to so many rehab facilities out there. There's a bunch of them out there. These are, the top of the top. But for somebody, I've had surgery before due to a sports injury. It is mentally taxing trying to come back to that, especially trying to come back to the level you were once at. Like it is a mental grind just as much as it is a physical grind because you're putting in, hours and hours of rehab. You're waking up. The thing is pulsing every day, throbbing. You have these like depressing thoughts, like, am I ever going to be okay again? It's just natural, it's what human beings go through.
Yeah.
With that being said, I think he's going to fully be capable of coming back if he treats it the right way. I think his best bet would probably be to stay with the Rams, especially with Cooper Kupp being the wide receiver 1 on that team and him being a wide receiver 2. Like having Odell Beckham as your wide receiver 2 is ridiculous because he's a top tier talent.
He's actually wide receiver 3. You keep forgetting about Robert Woods.
True. I didn't really factor him in because they didn't play together because he got hurt as soon as they signed him.
Yeah.
So that's why
they signed him.
No, they signed him and then Woods got hurt the next day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. You're right. Yeah, you are right about that.
But you're right. He would have been the wide receiver 3. So let's say Woods comes back 100% healthy and Odell comes back 100% healthy. Well, he would technically be, you're right, probably wide receiver 3. And then is Higbee still under contract?
Yeah, Higbee's still under contract.
So Higbee. Yeah. So I mean, if you could keep all of those guys, that's pretty ridiculous.
I don't think they can. They already pay Robert Woods.
But I don't think they're gonna. But like you said, would Odell be willing to take less? Because I don't know if teams would be willing to take a gamble on him now. That's his second injury.
See, it depends on the role he's playing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's not just the fact that he's taking less; it's the fact that how much less. Because you're not going to pay a wide receiver number 3 over $11-12 million a year. And is Odell Beckham Jr. willing to come back to Los Angeles and play for $6 million every year?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you got guys like Devontae Adams, who's about to get the bag. Nuke Hopkins is getting $27 million a year. You know what I mean? And it's
but you think teams would be willing to take a gamble on him now that he's had his second major injury?
It depends on the scenario, how late in free agency he holds out. Like, I'm not to always bring it back to my Raiders. We all know what time it is. Everybody knows, what I do. But, the thing is, like, the Raiders need an X. They need an X receiver, man. They need a number 1. They have a lot of guys like, the Hunter Renfrows of the world, Darren Waller's of the world. But Odell Beckham Jr. being on the field opens everything up. So maybe a team like the Raiders might be able to bring him in on a heavily incentive-laden deal. You know what I mean? It's like scintillated, but we're bringing you in. We had our doctors look at your knee. We think that you can be 100% and get through the season. And just in case you get hurt, we got a way to get out of it. But if you ball out, you're going to get paid. So then you have risers in the contract to put him at like $14-15 million if he plays, he balls out, he hits certain metrics. So I can see that happening. Yeah, I can definitely see somebody like going in and behave like, Odell, listen, being in Los Angeles, you might like it there, but you're not going to get the amount of touches, even if you get an incentive-laden contract for you to eat like that. Cooper Kupp's going to eat. Robert Woods is going to eat. And I know that Matthew Stafford has a very, very, very good synergy with Robert Woods. He loves Robert Woods and he loves Cooper Kupp, and he's doing well with Odell Beckham too. But what it shows me too is the Rams, they better solve that problem because they definitely need 2 receivers. Because when Odell went down, he looked terrible at first, man. He was overthrowing people, underthrowing people. He needs a loaded, and that's what I'm getting back to my point earlier, man, not to ramble, but that's why that it's not like you need a team that's like balanced. You don't always need Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes to win a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like to me, Matthew Stafford didn't raise any whole lot of hell in that Super Bowl. And he's played really, really bad sometimes of the season. You know, he led the league in interceptions this year. Him and Trevor Lawrence were tied in that. And you know, they said that he had 12 interceptions dropped. So he could have blew that shit out of the water, bro. So he hasn't really played that well, man, as advertised. I mean, I know he won, he did what he had to do, and he's played well in flashes, but he hasn't really played that well, man, and for them to mortgage their future. So the Rams are really up against it, man.
That's a good point, man. I totally forgot about the interception thing that he led the league in that. But I think you're right as far as like you don't need a stud quarterback. Obviously, there's a ton of them now with this young talent, especially as we mentioned earlier in the AFC. We got Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar, Patty Mahomes. So I mean the future's looking great.
Justin
And then
Herbert.
Justin Herbert too. And then who knows with this draft class, who else is going to come in and going to have an impact. I don't
I don't
think it's
see
a ton of significance, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But there's a bunch of questions that need to be answered in the off season. But yeah, they're in an interesting spot. They went all in. They got their ring, so maybe they'll be satisfied. But as far as a
not that owner. Not that owner, bro.
Yeah, I was about to say, as far as an organization standpoint goes, it's going to be interesting what moves they make in the future to try to construct something out in LA. But there's a million, like we said before, bro, there's a million other things to do in LA.
Yeah.
Like all those celebrities were just there because it was the Super Bowl. They're not actual fans of the Rams.
Now they were working yesterday, bro. That was work. That wasn't leisure. It was work, man. Work on being seen. Work on being with the cool kids. It's like being in high school, going to the Super Bowl and being a celebrity, man. It's the cool kids table.
Exactly.
You know? So it's all bullshit, man. But this Super Bowl, man, to me, it really wasn't. I don't know. I
thought it was boring, man.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It wasn't even a good game. I wasn't even enjoying watching it. This is why you gamble on games, to make it fun. And unfortunately, the Odell injury messed up a lot of people's tickets.
Oh my God, it fucked my ticket up, bro. Yo, man, that fucked my ticket up, and then Jamar Chase too, not scoring a touchdown.
Yeah, so I had a big parlay. I always put in these 10-leg ridiculous parlays with not a lot of money, just for fun. I ended up missing out because Joe Mixon didn't get his receiving yards or getting in the end zone. So I hit 8 out of 10, which is pretty solid, but that it definitely hurt. But I took the Bengals last week when it opened up at 4. Yeah. So once the Rams missed that extra point, I was like, "Oh, this is amazing! It's gonna 3-point game."
Yeah, you know who's probably punching the air right now is your boy the Mattress Mac.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, motherfucker lost $10 million again. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, this guy, he's supposed to be some gambling legend. I mean, how many fucking times does this guy gotta lose to stop gambling that much money?
Yo,
man?
So apparently the reason he does that is because he runs some type of promotion where if the winning team wins, the people get their money back. So if I were to come into his store and buy a $3,000 mattress and the Bengals were to win, he would give you your $3,000 back. So he runs these type of promotions to bring all this revenue in. But still, $9 million is $9 million.
Yeah,
like, man. Damn, bro.
Yeah, man. I said I hope we don't hear the mattress Mac is sleeping in the mattresses somewhere. Man, sleeping. The fucking fat Tony come and break his fucking. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Where's he from?
Man.
Texas.
Yeah.
Breaking news: Mattress Mac found in the Rio Grande.
Yeah, I know, right? The Mattress Mac found up under a fucking Mac. I don't know, man, but yeah, that whole Super Bowl, man, was like flag football. It was very, very unwatchable, man. And to be honest with you, I'm just happy that the season is over. You know what I mean? Because the NFL needs to really regroup after this season, and they need to do something about the officiating. They need to do something about, the competitiveness of the game and the way that they call the game. They need to retool the project, not the project, but the product. They need to retool the product. I think the product is really, really falling off, and they're going to kill the goose that laid the golden egg if they keep allowing the referees to have this much of a say in what goes on. And it almost feels like, and I'm not one of these guys who think that the National Football League is scripted. I'm not some conspiracy theorist. I enjoy it too much to be that cynical. But what I do feel is that they use the referees as almost like producers.
Yeah.
It's like a television program.
Yeah.
That's what it's become, man. I mean, another thing we didn't get into. This has nothing to do with football, and I just want to get into this really quickly. What did you think about the halftime show?
I thought it was pretty good, man. I got no complaints about it. Like it was cool to see, a couple of legends doing their thing out there. I think the only people who didn't like it were probably racist people. You know what I'm saying? Like as silly as that sounds, but it was cool. I thought they should have mixed probably a little bit more youth and more pop trendy songs as well. But it was cool to see the classics. I just liked all the 50 Cent memes. I thought they were hilarious.
Oh my god! Yeah, 50. They said 50 cents $1.25 now. Shit.
Yeah. Somebody said he should have been out there with Aaron Donald rushing the QB.
Yeah, it's mad funny, man. Everybody can roast 50 because 50 roast everybody. But the crazy shit is, I bet you in 2 months 50 gonna fucking be shredded out of his goddamn bird, man. He could be shredded out of his mind, man.
What did you think of it?
You know what I mean? It's my era. You know what I mean? It's cool to see all of them. I kind of thought the whole Eminem thing, him kneeling, was really disingenuous. That shit was corny. Like it's like, bro, it's like, bro, that shit is that whole kneeling thing is over, motherfucker. Like you didn't make a stand. You just want people to bring your name up in the media today. The courageous stand of Eminem. Like it's like, get the fuck out of here, bro. That shit was corny as hell. And then Dr. Dre, to me, looks like fucking the brother from Magnum PI and shit. Like a thick bag of groceries and shit. All of them look crazy now, bro. I enjoyed Kendrick Lamar. You know what I mean? I don't know, dog. Like the Super Bowl halftime show is the thing that I give least of a fuck about. You know what I mean? Only time that I've ever really thought that I thought the year that Michael Jackson's the one who really made this thing a thing. Because when Michael Jackson performed back in the day, man, Michael Jackson was on top of the stadium and shit. He showed up on top of the stadium, but he jumped up out of the fucking stage. That was crazy when Michael did it. And then
I mean, he's the best performer ever, bro. Like he gotta go big.
Then Prince did a great job the year he did it. I think Beyonce did a great job. And U2 did a really good job the year that they did it, when they had the fucking camera in the front row and everything. And they, that was dope.
See, I wasn't impressed. Usually I feel like the stage is like way more crazy than it was yesterday.
Yeah, this shit was weak, bro.
I was like, I feel like they just rolled in some like some train cars with just like an open, I don't know if it was like,
bro, that
like
shit looked like storage containers.
Yeah,
the fucking storage containers at the docks. They just opened the side of it up and spray painted them white.
Usually the stage is ginormous. You know what I'm saying? They got all this crazy spectacle and everything. I don't know if it was because it was during the day still out in LA that they were like, we got to do something different. But I wasn't too impressed with the theatrics.
Yeah, that shit was weak, bro. That shit was weak.
I thought that could have been much better.
They should have brought Cube out.
Yeah, a lot of people were salty about that.
Yeah, but Cube, I think he couldn't come out because he didn't get the mean. So Cube wasn't fucking with it. Yeah, so shout out to Ice Cube.
The whole stadium wasn't listening to any of the rules, man.
Yeah, man. Whatever. He's supposed to be masked up. Everybody up there fucking coughing each other's face and slobbing on each other.
This is my thing. You got what, 75,000 people in there not listening to any rules, but then the next day in school, all their kids got to be, listening to the rules and all that. It's like, come on, man. This is
listen.
But you'll never hear about that, man. You know what I'm saying?
Call it what it is, man. Let's call it what it is, man. And you can go on Men of Order to check out the article that I wrote, about the very same thing. It's called The Sweet Life of Magic and Gavin, talking about the NFC championship game. But listen, man, let's call it what it is. These people who have these things that are going on, that have set these metrics, don't even believe the shit they self. That's what it shows you. That's what it shows you. So it's like, it's crazy, man. Not to pivot onto that, but this shit is just bugged out, man. I'm gonna be honest with you though. I'm very, very happy that you're starting to see people not do this, because eventually it's gonna kind of go away, man. I will hope so. I will hope that it's going through everybody. Everybody's gotten it, and now we can get back to like what life is about. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much where I'm at with it, man. But another thing I noticed too, I saw LeBron James next to Darren Waller from the Raiders. Holy shit, LeBron is a big dude, man. That's a big brother, man.
Yo, he is a big person.
That's a monster.
He is a monster, bro. You said it correctly. He is a monster because Darren Waller is not a tiny person, and he made Darren Waller look like a tiny person.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, he made Darren Waller like a little bitch.
He made him look like he was like 5'8", bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yo, I was like, God damn. When people talk about it, was like, yo, Bron was an all-state football player. You think he could play tight end in the National Football League?
Easily could be in the NFL if he wanted to.
You think so?
Truly believe that, man.
I don't know if he can take getting hit like that.
Could you picture him playing tight end? Oh, that's come on, bro. He would be on all sorts of stuff if he was in the NFL. Bro.
Yeah, that'd be the cheat code.
You'd be like when you get Madden and you do a create a player and they all brolic. That's how LeBron would look.
Like Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers, they just fucking just take that shit and fling it up to him. Yeah, man. But yeah, man. I mean, overall, I just what yesterday showed me, to put a neat little bow on it with the Super Bowl. I think it's time for the National Football League to retool the way that their product. I think the product is suffering, and pretty soon people are going to lose interest in it because the referees have too much of an effect on the bottom line of the game, and it just should not be that way.
Yeah, man. I mean, they got to find that fine line where. See, I want the games to be more of like an offensive game. I know a lot of people love, great defenses and all that, but to be honest, I hate that type of football. I think it's extremely boring. I would like to see the NFL not be quite as high scoring as college, but I want to see high scoring games. That Chiefs and Bills game, that was one of the best NFL games I've ever watched. Where the Chiefs ended up, the Chiefs ended up coming and tying it and then winning it in overtime. Like, that game was ridiculous. I would love to see more games like that. Not games that are like 13-7. Like, I hate that type of football. I know people love defense.
I do. I play defense. I like defense. I love defense. I don't want to see somebody just run up and down the field like fucking Arena League football. I hate that shit. You know what I mean? What I want to like to see them bring back to the game is the physicality of the game. You know what I mean? Because that's what makes those games good games. Like, if you remember back when the Ravens won a Super Bowl, that wasn't boring football. That was exciting football to watch the Ravens physically dominate people. But now they throw a flag every 5 minutes. You fit somebody up and give them a nice hit.
If Ray Lewis played in today's NFL, he would be kicked out after 2 games.
Yeah, I know.
He'd be out after 2 games, man. But it's tough because then the NFL's got to cover the whole CTE thing, right? They don't want guys getting hurt anymore. It's like this. It's this weird gray area of football. Like, you're signing up to possibly die, but at the same time you want to have a good product. So it's like, what do they do? But I think you're right. I think they got to figure it out. But I think they will. The game, everybody loves football. This is America.
They're gonna kill it, bro. Like, I think the National Football League they have an arrogance that baseball once had. They think that everybody is going to continue and continue and continue and continue. It's not going to continue like that, bro. Eventually,
cars are extinct.
Yeah, that's funny. Eventually, the league is going to have to fix this game. They're going to have to, man, because people are going to move on and find something else to do. You got generations of kids who don't even like sports. They play fucking esports. They don't go outside. Yeah. They don't fucking have friends. They don't play football in the park and stuff. They're going to lose a generation. That's what happened with baseball. Baseball didn't keep up with the times, and it lost a generation, and now they're never going to recover from that. So the National Football League has to do everything they can to keep people engaged in this shit.
That's a good point. Yeah, baseball's shot, man. Let's be real. Baseball is shot. They need to bring steroids back into baseball.
Well, they did, man. They heard your cries.
They heard my cries.
They heard your cries, man. They're gonna make Jose Canseco the national, the Major League Baseball commissioner and shit now. It's gonna be steroids everywhere. It's gonna be bowls of greenies and fucking test and fucking GH every goddamn where. Watch. It's gonna be return of the fucking Big Mac. Fucking Mark McGuire is gonna get juiced out of his mind and come back at 58 years old. No kidding.
I would love that. You know what the problem is with football too? Everybody's going vegan. Nobody has that killer mentality anymore, man. You got to eat some filet mignon. Get some killer in you.
I know Cam Newton's doing
Lions
yoga
don't eat broccoli.
I know Cam Newton's doing yoga and bullshit and walking around dressed like the Mad Hatter and shit. It's just fucking crazy, man.
I seen that yesterday because Joe Burrow had that ridiculous suit on, And so people were saying a lot of people didn't like when Cam was dressing like this. I was like, listen, man, I don't like when Joe's dressing like this either. That's
Yo,
super
leave
terrible.
Joe Shiesty alone, man. I fucks with Joe Shiesty like that. I wish he was the quarterback of the Raiders. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. Look, man. Like to put a bow on it for me, man. You know, the Super Bowl to me out of a 10 was a 5. It wasn't really that interesting. I'm just glad this season is over, so we can get into the minutia of next season and the off season and all of that. I'm glad. You know what I mean? Because you know, I think the NFL definitely they need to go back to the fucking drawing board because this season, man, it was too many games decided in all these janky, weird fucking ways, man. And it needs that shit needs to stop.
Yeah. Well, couldn't agree more. I just want a good product. But my Super Bowl rating, yeah, I'll probably give it a 5 or a 6. Commercials, 3. They were trash. I didn't like any of them.
But you didn't like the Dr. Evil Super? You didn't like the Dr. Evil one, man?
Bro, I didn't really like. None of them stuck out to me, honestly.
The Dr. Evil and the LeBron one when he's talking to himself.
The LeBron one was cool.
That was tough, man.
I like the crypto.com too when they had the QR code bounce all over the screen. That was smart marketing, so you would scan it. But it was funny. It actually made their website crash from so many people scanning it.
Holy shit.
So I guess it did work in a way. It brought a lot of traffic. But
that was a win. That was a win, brother. That was a win. Well,
all right, my dude. In, man. Yeah, let's wrap this up. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. If you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate your time. We're going to be doing a lot more basketball content now that the NFL is over. So stay tuned in. Peace.
All right, my brother.